Hello? Is there another ghost story today?
Yes. Do you want to hear more? Then we'll tell a story. The Curse of the Dead Ghost. Let's listen.
Did the ghost die? Interesting. I'd like to hear it.
Yes, but before telling, I will represent myself as a storyteller. It will be easy to tell, easy to understand.
Okay. Tell me.
My grandmother has 2 daughters. My mother is the eldest. The second person's name is Aunt Noy. Grandma told me that when my mother and Aunt Noy were young, there are younger men and older men. Let's flirt with each other a lot. It can be said that the head of the stairs of the house has never dried up. Aunt Noy has a young men from different homes and districts come to flirt every day, including Aunt Yum, a young man in the same village, age around the same time as Aunt Noy. Aunt Yum. He likes Aunt Noy since kindergarten. When Aunt Yum was a child, he had money to go to school. 1 baht per week. He will share 50 satons with Aunt Noy. When Aunt Yum started growing up as a young man, what did he get? He usually brings it to Aunt Noy every time. Consistently, never changing. But Aunt Noy, she never felt like Aunt Yum at all. And still, liked to talk hard to Aunt Yum every time. Later, there was a young man from another district. Come flirt with Aunt Noy. His name is Aunt Phut. Aunt Noy feels like Aunt Phut too. Flirt with each other for a while. Aunt Phut asked her parents to ask Aunt Noy to marry. Aunt Noy also agreed to marry, because she likes Aunt Phut as well. Rumors spread quickly, until reaching the ears Aunt Aum.
From what I heard, Aunt Yum probably loved Aunt Noy very much. It's a pity that he is all the same. Go take a shower, we're going to be late for class.
Before the day that Aunt Phut came to agree on the dowry. That night, Aunt Yum came to see Aunt Noy at home. Called for a long time. Grandma then told Aunt Noy to come and talk to Aunt Yum. Aunt Noy made a dissatisfied face. Walked out of the room. Then asked Aunt Yum why he came. Aunt Yum saw Aunt Noy walking out. Aunt Yum, therefore, spoke honestly. That Aunt Noy will marry with that young man from far away, really? Aunt Noy said yes. Tomorrow we'll agree on the dowry. Aunt Yum. Let me say that. Can you not marry Aunt Phut at all? How much does that party pay for the dowry? Aunt Yum. We'll give more than 1-fold. Aunt Noy was annoyed. So honestly say that she has never loved you. And throughout this nation, there will be no love day. Although there is only one man left in the world. Definitely won't marry with a bad face. Aunt Yum is very sad. Therefore threatened Aunt Noy that he would hang himself. And ordered that this life will love only one Aunt Noy. And will love Aunt Noy in every life. Aunt Noy thinks it's just a threat. Aunt Yum probably wouldn't really dare to do it. So she drove Aunt Yum to go home. She herself returned to her bedroom.
Why are you so mean-spirited? The truth can be said to Aunt Yum nicely. It's just that Aunt Yum knows that Aunt Noy doesn't love him. He is already very sorry. Hurry up and get dressed. There are few buses. We will be late.
The morning the next day. Someone told me that Aunt Yum has already been hanged. Grandma then hurriedly ran to see. Aunt Noy was very shocked and scared. Until she didn't dare to look. When Grandma arrived at Aunt Yum's house, cries echoed throughout the house. People stood in thatch until the streets filled. The state of the corpse at that time. Eyes popped. Tongue stretched. supposedly been dead since last night, and found a suicide note that Aunt Jung wrote before her death. In the letter, it's a curse word to Aunt Noi. Will follow Aunt Noi everywhere, and will take the Aunt Noi to live with him until the day of burning. Aunt Noi is very afraid, but have to persist. Go up and place sandalwood flowers. It turns out that the corpse of Aunt Jung is dead and cannot sleep. Undertaker. Try to run his hand over his eyes to close them, but it's not completely closed. The funeral passed several days, but Aunt Noi is like an anxious person. Hearing any sound was completely frightening. Going to the bathroom each time. Grandma had to come down to watch the front of the bathroom every time. After a while, Aunt Noi was married to Aunt Phut. Everything seems to be going smoothly. Not long after, Aunt Noi became pregnant. But Aunt Noi was born 3 months prematurely. A child born as a woman. Very small. Fed milk, refused to eat.
So sad. I feel pity for you. He must have been very Aunt Noi angry and resentful. Let's go. The bus has arrived.
After a while, the child let out a heavy breath, before finally dying. About 78 years later, Aunt Noi was pregnant again. Aunt Noi is pregnant for 3 months. About to enter the 4th month. That night, Aunt Noi had a dream of seeing Aunt Jung come stand in front of the house. It's like you can't enter the house. Staring at the little face, stern eyes. And suddenly, Aunt Jung smiled. But it was a very scary smile. Then, Aunt's neck is bloated. It's slowly folded down. Eyes popped out. But the mouth still smiles in the same position. Aunt Noi was startled. And that night, she didn't dare to sleep again. The next morning, Aunt Noi fell down on the floor of the bathroom. Lots of bleeding from between the legs. When she gets to the hospital, the doctor concluded that the child had died. A year later, Aunt Noi was pregnant again. It's like stroking is not wrong at all. About to enter the 4th month, she miscarried again. That very night, Aunt Noi dreamed that Aunt Jung came to stand and laugh in front of the house, staring at Aunt Noi with stern eyes, and said, "You can't escape me." Grandmother began to be unable to endure the events that had happened. Therefore took Aunt Noi and Aunt Phut to see the fortune with the monk. The monk just said that ghost still won't go anywhere. He's not his kill yet. He couldn't even be born. He will still circle with what he is associated with.
This is what it's called. Karma until Aunt Noi gets married. But in the end, Aunt Noi was not happy at all. Thank you. It's a very fun and exciting ghost story. If next time there is something interesting like this again, don't forget to bring it to tell again. Let's study together. The teacher has arrived.